everything you knew about relationships is wrong. Hey, listen up. No one has told you this yet, but there are some women out there that you absolutely need to avoid if you want to keep your sanity intact. Seriously, these are the 5 types of women that could turn your life upside down, and not in a good way. Trust me, if you've ever found yourself stuck in a toxic situation, you might just recognize a few of these. So, buckle up because we're about to dive deep into the dark side of dating. Now, before we dive in, I want you to ask yourself something. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt like you were constantly walking on eggshells? Or maybe you found yourself giving, but no matter what you did, it was never enough. If you're nodding along, then you might have already encountered one of these types of women. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll be armed with the knowledge to spot the warning signs and protect yourself from unnecessary drama and heartbreak. All right, let's get started with our first type. 1, the manipulator. All right, let's kick things off with the first type, the manipulator. This one is a master at getting what she wants, and she won't hesitate to twist her emotions like a pretzel. Ever felt guilty for something that wasn't even your fault? Yeah, that's her handiwork. She'll make you feel like the bad guy even when you've done nothing wrong. Manipulators are sneaky sometimes. You don't even realize you're being played until you're already deep in their web. She's not going to come out and say, hey, I'm manipulating you. No, she'll be much more subtle. It might start with small things like making you feel guilty for spending time with your friends or subtly suggesting that your family doesn't really care about you as much as she does. Before you know it, you're second guessing every decision you make, wondering if you're being a good partner or if you're somehow failing her. And let's talk about the guilt trips. Manipulators are pros at using guilt as a weapon. Imagine this: you're excited about a weekend with your friends, but suddenly she pulls the "if you really loved me, you'd stay" card. Or maybe she spins a sob story complete with tears to get you to bend to her will. It's exhausting because no matter what you do, it's never enough to make her happy. She'll always find a way to turn things around on you, making you feel like you're in the wrong. Another classic move? The silent treatment. You didn't do what she wanted? Fine, she'll just stop talking to you altogether, leaving you in this weird limbo where you're desperate to make things right, even though you're not even sure what you did wrong. It's a power play, plain and simple. But here's the secret. The more you give in, the more power she has over you. So, the next time she tries to guilt trip you, take a step back and ask yourself, is this really about love or is it about control? You need to recognize that manipulation is a form of emotional abuse. It's not love, and it's not healthy. If you feel like you're constantly walking on eggshells, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. One of the most important things you can do is to set boundaries early on. Let her know what you will and won't tolerate, and stick to it. Don't let her guilt you into bending those boundaries, because once you start, it's a slippery slope. If she truly cares about you, she'll respect your boundaries. If well, it's better to find out sooner rather than later, right? 2, the drama queen. But next up, we've got the drama queen. Oh boy, if you thought you were signing up for a peaceful relationship, think again. This woman turns every little issue in a full-blown telenovela. From crying over spilled milk to blowing up over a simple disagreement, she lives for the chaos. Drama queens thrive on attention. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad attention, as long as people are focused on her, she's happy. But here's the thing, being in a relationship with a drama queen is like riding an emotional roller coaster. One minute, everything's fine. And the next, she's accusing you of not caring enough, not loving her enough, not something enough. Imagine this, you suggest watching a different movie than the one she had in mind. Instead of a simple "let's compromise," she's suddenly in tears, accusing you of not caring about her feelings. Or maybe you're at a party and she decides to cause a scene just to be the center of attention. It's exhausting, because no matter what you do, it's never enough. She'll always find something to blow out of proportion. Drama queens also have a knack for making everything about them. You're having a bad day and want to talk about it. Suddenly, she's got an even bigger problem, and your issues are brushed aside. It's like living in a soap opera, where every little thing is a potential catastrophe. Here's the deal, drama queens thrive on emotional turmoil, and if you're not careful, you'll get sucked into their endless vortex of unnecessary conflict. Keep your peace of mind intact by setting boundaries early on, or you'll find yourself walking on eggshells every single day. If you find yourself in a relationship with a drama queen, it's crucial to stay grounded. Don't let her pull you into her whirlwind of emotions. When she starts to spiral, take a step back and try to remain calm. Don't feed into the drama, it's what she wants. Instead, offer her a calm, rational response. And if she continues to escalate, Remove yourself from the situation. Over time, you might start to notice a pattern with drama queens. The highs and lows, the constant need for attention, it's all part of the game. The important thing is to recognize it for what it is and decide if it's something you're willing to deal with long term. Because if not, it might be time to consider whether this relationship is really worth all the stress. 3. The control freak. Now, let's talk about the control freak. This type of woman needs everything her way all the time. It starts off small. Maybe she picks your clothes or decides what you'll eat. But before you know it, she's dictating every aspect of your life. Control freaks are all about power. For them, it's not enough to just be in a relationship, they need to be in charge. And it can be subtle at first. Maybe she starts making little decisions for you, like where you're going to eat or what you're going to wear. But it seems harmless, right? But over time, it escalates. Suddenly, she's telling you who you can and can't hang out with, how you should spend your money, and what you should do with your free time. Picture this scenario. You're planning a night out with the guys, but she's already decided you're staying in. Or maybe she's monitoring your texts, asking why you're talking to certain people. It's like having your personal freedom slowly stripped away, one decision at a time. Another red flag is when she starts criticizing every little thing you do. Nothing you do is ever quite right. There's always something she thinks you can do better. It's a way of keeping you off balance, making you feel like you need her to guide you, to tell you what to do. Over time, this can erode your confidence and make you doubt yourself. But here's the truth, a relationship should be a partnership, not a dictatorship. If you find yourself constantly bending to her will, it's time to reassess who's really in control here, because it should be you making your own decisions. In a healthy relationship, both partners should feel free to express their opinions and make their own decisions. It's about compromise, not control. If you find yourself in a relationship with a control freak, it's important to assert your independence. Make it clear that you value your freedom and that you're not willing to give it up. If she respects you, she'll back off. If not, well, that tells you everything you need to know. Remember, it's your life. You have the right to make your own choices, and no one should take that away from you. Don't let a control freak dictate how you live your life. Take back the reins and steer your own course. Or the eternal pessimist. Fourth on our list is the eternal pessimist. This woman sees the glass as half empty always. No matter how good things are, she'll find something to complain about. Whether it's the weather, her job, or your relationship, nothing is ever good enough. Being with a pessimist is like having a dark cloud hanging over your head all the time. Even when things are going well, she'll find something negative to focus on. And it's not just about the big stuff. She'll nitpick over the smallest details, turning minor inconveniences into major problems. Think about this, you just got a promotion at work, and instead of celebrating, she points out how it'll mean more stress and less time together. Or maybe you're planning a vacation, and all she can talk about are the possible delays and inconveniences. Her negativity can drain the joy out of any situation. Over time, being around a pessimist can start to wear you down. You might find yourself becoming more negative, more anxious, and more stressed. It's like her negativity is contagious, and before you know it, you're seeing the world through her dark, gloomy lens. The bottom line, constant negativity can be contagious. If you're not careful, you'll start seeing the world through her dark, gloomy lens. It's important to surround yourself with positivity. So if you notice this pattern, you might need to take a step back for your own emotional health. If you're in a relationship with a pessimist, it's important to protect your own mental health. Don't let her negativity drag you down. Try to counteract it with positivity, and don't be afraid to distance yourself when things get too overwhelming. Remember, you deserve to be happy, and if someone's constant negativity is getting in the way of that, it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. It's also important to set boundaries with a pessimist. Let her know that you're not interested in dwelling on the negative all the time, and that you'd prefer to focus on the positives. If she's unwilling to change her outlook, you'll need to decide whether this is something you're willing to tolerate long term. So 5. The superficial diva. Finally, we have the superficial diva. For her, appearances are everything. She's more concerned with how things look on the outside than how they feel on the inside. If she's always focused on the latest trends, status symbols, or how she's perceived by others, you're dealing with a diva. The superficial diva is all about keeping up appearances. She's the type who spends hours getting ready, making sure every hair is in place. Every outfit is perfectly coordinated. And while there's nothing wrong with wanting to look good for her, it goes beyond that. It's an obsession She's more concerned with how she looks on social media than with how she's treating the people in her life. Here's an example. You're excited to spend some quality time together, but she's more interested in taking selfies for Instagram than actually enjoying the moment. Or maybe she's always dropping hints about the expensive gifts she wants, making you feel like you need to keep up with her material demands. Being in a relationship with a superficial diva can be exhausting. You're constantly trying to meet her high expectations, but it never seems to be enough. She's always looking for the next best thing, whether it's a new outfit, a new gadget, or a new status symbol. And if you're not careful, you can get caught up in her superficial world, losing sight of what really matters. Here's the catch: relationships should be about more than just the surface stuff. If you're constantly trying to impress someone who values things over people, it's time to ask yourself if this is really what you want in a partner. The superficial diva's obsession with appearances can also lead to a lack of authenticity in the relationship. She might be more concerned with how the relationship looks to others than with how it actually feels. This can make it difficult to build a deep, meaningful connection because she's always focused on the superficial. If you find yourself in a relationship with a superficial diva, it's important to stay true to yourself. Don't get caught up in her world of appearances and materialism. Focus on what really matters: authenticity, connection, and mutual respect. But if she's unwilling to see beyond the surface, it might be time to move on. Key takeaways. So there you have it, the 5 types of women you need to avoid at all costs if you want to keep your life drama-free, your freedom intact, and your sanity in check. From the manipulator who plays with your emotions to the superficial diva who's only skin deep, these are the types you need to steer clear of. But before you go, here's a little something to think about. It's not just about avoiding these types of women. It's about knowing your worth and recognizing when someone is treating you less than you deserve. You have the power to set boundaries and choose who you let into your life. Remember, relationships are supposed to add value to your life, not drain you of your energy and joy. If you're constantly feeling stressed, anxious, or unhappy in your relationship, it's a sign that something's not right. Don't be afraid to walk away from a toxic situation. It's better to be single and happy than stuck in a relationship that's making you miserable. Before we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever encountered any of these types of women? How did it affect you, and what did you learn from the experience? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. And remember, you deserve to be in a relationship that brings out the best in you, not the stress in you. Stay smart, stay strong, and always trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore the red flags, address them head on, and protect your peace of mind. What's the craziest experience you've had with any of these types? Drop your story in the comments. Which type do you think is the most dangerous? Let's get a discussion going. Hit that like button if you've ever had to deal with a drama queen, because we've all been there, right?